It's like the secret no one talks about.
It really is like why aren't more people talking about this? I don't know what's going on, but oh well.
What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing well. Well, if you've been following my videos for any amount of time, then you know I have been preaching the value of online marketing for the longest time, especially through SEO. But it is possible to feel completely overwhelmed by all the nuances that there are to SEO in order to get your website showing up in Google search results. And not all of us have the time, energy, or desire to make that happen. And that's why I'm super excited for today's video, because I'm having on an SEO expert. She is legit, and she offers some highly targeted, easy to implement SEO tips that you could do literally within minutes after watching this video. Today I'm interviewing Kristie Plantinga, who is an SEO expert. Like, she has SEO agency experience, and one thing that I love about her is she works specifically with therapists to help them with their SEO game. And if you're listening thinking, Marie, I have absolutely no idea what SEO is at all, don't worry, Kristie's gonna break it down and make it really easy to understand. For now, just know that she's going to offer some simple, easy to implement tips in this interview that will help you fill your practice, which sounds pretty sweet, right? Welcome to Private Practice Skills. I'm Dr. Marie Fang, psychologist in private practice. I post videos offering tools I learned the hard way about starting and growing private practice so that you don't have to. And without further ado, let's hop into this awesome action-packed interview with Kristie Plantinga. Okay, well, Kristie, it's so nice to have you. I'm so glad to have you on, a bona fide SEO expert who specifically works with therapists. It's like, it's such a unicorn role. And I discovered you randomly on Instagram. Actually, I think it was that you were following me maybe on Instagram. And
yeah, I was like one of the first likes. I was like one of the creepy first likes in a post. And then I think like you kind of like my name popped up, and then you're like, oh, hey, you exist.
Yeah, well, your Instagram name is TherapySEO. And I was like thinking, oh, gotta check this out. And I loved your page. So that's how we connected. So I'm so glad that you're here. But I imagine some folks would like to hear who you are and kind of get to know you a little bit before we hop into your tips for today.
Definitely. Well, my name is Kristie Plantinga. I'm the founder of TherapySEO, and I only do SEO for therapists and coaches when that comes about as well. Yeah, it's honestly like, I love my pitch because it's just that simple.
Folks watching, you're in for some gems, but I know there are at least some people watching who don't quite know what SEO means. So I wonder if you'd be willing to kind of give the nutshell explanation of what SEO is, because obviously that's so important to what you do.
Yes. I think SEO is the ongoing process of optimizing your website, whether it's with getting people to link to your website or writing content, whatever we do to optimize for certain ranking factors. And the ranking factors are from Google's algorithm. But we're basically doing whatever we can to optimize for the existing ranking factors that we know so people can find you on Google.
And I think it's so important that you say that, because there are so many therapists that I've spoken with who have like a beautiful website or spent all this time on their website. They have, launch it, it's live, and they're thinking, okay, now clients are going to contact me. And it's just crickets. Like, no one's finding their website. And, you go and look at it, it's like, well, whatever search terms people are searching, your website isn't showing up for it. So you can have this beautiful website and it's not doing anything for you. So the SEO is that really important factor to actually help
the
people.
Bridge. Yeah, exactly. And it's really, it can be complicated, but it's my goal really to make this stuff as simple as possible, and it really is just about being, I think, authentically you and showing your expertise on your website, and the rest is just kind of the techniques that you can learn. But it really is the bridge between, I have a beautiful website, And then SEO is actually how people find you on Google then to get to your website.
So glad you're here. Love that you're streamlining it and that the focus too is on being yourself, because that people can get hung up on that too. So that's really illuminating for our title here, because we're talking about how to get more clients using SEO. And as you've alluded to, SEO is such a massive topic that there's no way we're going to cover all the things.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to hone in on something specifically for today so people can kind of get a easy takeaway as far as SEO. And I wonder if you could say a little bit about maybe local SEO and why that's something that is important to talk about.
Local SEO is basically the work we do for websites, but it's specifically for your Google My Business listing. So you can show up on the local search results and the Google Maps app and that algorithm too. You can get massive exposure on both of these different areas of the web. And you can also make progress very quickly. The local results are also actually above the organic results. So when someone Googles therapist near me, you're typically going to see, I think it's at least 3 ads, usually 4 now. And then there's the little local, I think it's called the 3-pack. A lot of people refer to it as, because it's typically those 3 results, but even that's changing all the time. And then after those 2 features, then you get the organic results. So it's good to rank on both. Obviously, the more, exposure you have on the first page, the better. But the local results are technically above the organic. So there's a big benefit in that as well, just visually speaking. And I will say lastly too, and this might change after this video, but really not many therapists are taking advantage of their Google My Business listings. It's free, it's free, it's easy to use, it's simple to optimize for. So I'm a huge proponent, if people come to me during consultations and they're thinking, what's one thing I can do for SEO? I'm just like, work on your Google My Business listing. That if you leave, my time or our time together with one thing, it's really the local SEO, Google My Business listing piece that I'm just, a big evangelist for.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up, because I feel like no one talks about Google My Business in therapy land.
I really don't know why.
I will say everything you just said has been completely true for my private practice, and I didn't expect that. I put my Google My Business listing up because it's free. Way back whenever. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just throw this thing up, and then realized this is sending most of the traffic that I'm getting to my website was through there, because I showed up in that Maps 3-pack for highly competitive keywords, because there's no one else doing it.
Yep, there's no one else
one other group practice doing it. And so there I am right at the top, and people, sure enough, clicking on it. Hundreds and hundreds of people every single month. If people haven't caught on yet, the answer to the question why local SEO is, it's easy and it gets you clients.
Really, why are we doing anything else? Honestly,
it's not overwhelming at all. Yes,
people can really, and I don't recommend this, but people really can have only a Google My Business listing and probably have a thriving private practice. Again, I don't recommend it because I don't think you should put all of your eggs in a basket that you don't own, because you don't own your Google My Business listing, and it could get taken down, the algorithm could change, you never know, right? But all this to say, it really is pretty incredible, what you can actually do with just a Google My Business listing.
Kristie, can you say a little bit about what ranking factors are? And then maybe a little bit of information about what some of these top ranking factors are when it comes to local SEO.
Someone enters a keyword into Google or another search engine like Yahoo, Bing, and Google has to make this decision of, what am I actually going to rank for this? So basically the ranking factors is just all that makes up the algorithm that they've used to assess the quality, the authority, and if a website is actually real, who they say they are, they're good at what they do.
So would you be willing to share what some of these kind of top ranking factors are so that people can glean from your wisdoms and apply?
Definitely. The first of these ranking factors, really, really important, is what is your primary business category? If you don't choose the right primary business category, you won't show up for anything. You will not show up for therapy terms if you have the wrong primary business category. I think there are about 9 you can choose from for therapists. I think most people probably fit in the category psychotherapist. Is the one that I see most often used and correlated with people who are ranking well in the local search algorithm. But you can choose as many secondary categories as you want. I don't want to recommend, depending on who's listening, their business is different, their practice is different. But I will say that most of my clients choose psychotherapist, and that's their primary business category, and that's served them well so far.
Okay, so we need to tell Google, it kind of feels a little bit like the yellow pages. Like if people are flipping to, the lawyer section of the yellow pages to find it, they're not looking for a therapist.
Yeah.
So if we somehow really mislabel ourselves, then it's not going to work.
Exactly.
This feels like such gold, because so far we're talking about something you can do for free. Clicking on your business category takes seconds.
Yeah, this has been like a minute investment so far.
Wonderful. And I know you have some other ranking factors that are worth sharing.
Yes. So this is a little tougher because this really depends on actually your practice's name. Having a keyword in the title of your Google My Business is really strongly correlated with higher rankings, right? So if you think about it, I am in San Diego and I want to find a therapist in San Diego, so I search Therapist San Diego. If there is a practice with the name Therapist San Diego, they're probably going to show up for those terms, right? So if your name doesn't have the word therapy, therapist, counselor, counseling, psychologist in it, it is going to be tougher. It's just going to take longer for you to make progress on the local results, just because keywords in the title are just really strongly correlated with, success on Google. And this actually is a nice segue into the next ranking factor. And that is fighting spam on Google, because people can just stuff keywords in the names of their Google My Business titles. So another thing I recommend is routinely going through the local search results in your area and suggesting a name change back to whatever is actually on their website. So if, Marie Fang Therapy, but then in your name you say Marie Fang San Diego Therapist, helping with family counseling, depression therapy, anxiety therapy, you can just go onto the listing, suggest a name change, and report it to Google, and it's totally anonymous. In some areas, especially if the population is higher, there's going to be a lot more of this spammy behavior. So especially if you live in a big city, I do recommend setting aside, maybe an hour every month just to go through and make sure, just like level the playing field a bit, because these people are getting rewarded for that spammy activity.
Wow. So you're making sure I heard this correctly. You're suggesting like searching the other folks with Google My Businesses in the area to see if they're creating this kind of spammy content, saying they have multiple offices, or jamming keywords in their titles and just anonymously suggesting that Google correct it.
Yes,
and that way
it or remove it. And you can usually tell it's a fake office because you keep on seeing their name everywhere. And I feel like there aren't that many big group therapy chains, like I'm talking 5 locations in one city kind of thing.
Right.
That doesn't really happen, right? But depending on where you are, it is absolutely crucial to take time doing this every month.
That is so valuable. I had no idea that was a thing.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I've seen it actively operating, at least for my keywords in my area. So that I had no idea when you were describing that.
Yeah.
Wow, but I could only imagine if you're wanting to rank for a certain keyword and somebody else is pretending they have multiple offices in the same city and all of them have the same keyword. Yes. It's not fair.
It is not fair at all. So the next one I want to talk about, and again, this is a one time you do it and then you're done with it kind of thing. Our favorite.
Great.
Filling out your listing in its entirety. So go through every little part of your Google My Business listing and make sure it's filled out. A, more stuff to optimize for. Why wouldn't you if it's there? And B, if your listing is incomplete, Google may think that you're not really open, maybe you're not responsive, and they're not going to direct their users to a listing where they're going to have a bad experience, right?
I love that. And again, it's free. You do it once. You're good. So simple. Were there any other ranking factors that you wanted to share?
Yes, one last one, then I promise I'm done. Last one, I swear. Our Google My Business listing is separate in many ways from our website, but if your website, the SEO on your website is done well, that also does affect the performance of your Google My Business listing. That's just another way that Google tries to authenticate, you are who you say you are, you're good at what you do, by looking at your website. Like, do you have good content? Have people been linking to your site? How long has your website been up? All those sorts of things that then account for that other algorithm that we've been alluding to more, by doing actual, like normal SEO, that's also going to help your local efforts as well.
These are all such hot tips. I feel like people have already gotten so many takeaways at this point. But I know you have some kind of like quick fire tools that, like, if people want to get into boosting their local SEO right away, you're going to share some more hot tips, which I feel like this is already so action-packed.
I love the hot tips, Jan. Other than the stuff that we've talked about, if you were to start doing 2 things today that don't take a lot of time, don't take any skill, the first would be just to start posting on your Google My Business listing. They have, again, a free posting feature. And I recommend to my clients, just try posting every week, again, because you're using the product. And it's pretty simple to do. Like, for my clients, I just create templates on Canva, and I just fill in content and write descriptions and make sure you're using keywords in your descriptions, just to enrich the listing as well.
That is a great tip. And I think you have maybe one more.
Yes, one more.
Add?
And then I'll stop. I'll start with
so many free tips.
So many. And there's more where that came from, if you could even believe it. One of the things that helps authenticate your listing is having your name, address, and phone number listed consistently across different places on the web, right? So many people, like, that's a service you can often purchase. Like, I just want to get my citations, they're called out there, like citations and all of these different local sites. But I think it's so much more valuable to find local businesses, local institutions, local organizations, and somehow get a link or your, address and business name listed on those sites. That's going to be really, really impactful too.
Yeah, I feel like if somebody spent the time to do the tips, to implement the tips that you've shared, I mean, it'd be so golden. Like, clients would be contacting you so quickly. Kristie, I feel like you just gave us a gold mine. I feel like you just gave us a gold mine for free. And SEO is like such a massive topic that we really just only talked about this tiny piece, and there's so much more. And I imagine some folks would really love to kind of get their hands into it and learn more and want to know where to go for that. And I know you're a wealth of resources when it comes to SEO. So I wonder if folks are wanting to learn more about SEO, if you have any resources to offer to kind of help people with that.
Yeah, definitely. So primarily, I'm helping people collaboratively with SEO, so in the form of consulting or in group consulting as well. If you're looking for a little bit more of a budget-friendly option, I will teach you everything I know. We'll go over everything together. In my experience, which has been a really fun discovery working with therapists, is you really don't have to be a professional to do really well on Google in the therapy space. I would not say that in most industries, but in the therapy industry, I found that people who are willing to put in the work and with someone who's willing to guide them and show them the right things to save time, and make sure that you're doing things correctly, the results that I've seen from my clients are like, yeah, it's awesome. It's really, really fun and exciting.
Yeah, awesome, Kristie. And thank you for offering so many resources for people. I mean, just looking through all the different offerings that you have on your website, and you have from the highly personalized to the highly affordable and everything in between.
Yes.
And that's so wonderful to see that. So I'll link to all of that below if people are interested in learning more. But Kristie, thank you so much for offering just such a gold mine of information. I know I'm repeating myself, but I just can't believe how much you shared and everything. People can do all of this stuff for free, which is just awesome.
Totally free.
Well, thank you so much, Kristie. It was such a privilege to have you on and so fun to chat as well.
Thank you for having me. This is like such an amazing channel. I'm just really happy to be on.
Yeah, well, I'm sure everyone watching is so happy that you're here because you just shared so much wonderful information, and wishing you all of the best in all of your SEO endeavors and beyond.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow, what an action-packed interview. I lost track of how many times I said hot tips and gold mine, but Kristie really did lay on those hot tips thick. And if nothing else, I hope you at least take away the value of starting a Google My Business profile, even if you don't hop into all of the details that she shared here. If you'd like more help growing your practice through online marketing, I've left a link in the description box for Kristie's group consulting program called Optimize Your Practice. You get direct access to her and a community of therapist peers so you can learn all the tools you need to get a steady stream of new counseling clients through your website, which sounds awesome. And before we close, I'd like to thank TherapyNotes.com for sponsoring this video. TherapyNotes can streamline all of your practice management needs, from scheduling to notes to billing and beyond. They have a free HIPAA-secure telehealth platform, which they're constantly updating with new features. Just recently, they added screen sharing as a feature in their telehealth option. And if you want to check out TherapyNotes for free with no obligation, you can click the link in the description of this video to get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment. Well, thank you so much to Kristie Plantinga of TherapySEO for offering her time and expertise in this video. I cannot believe how much stuff she gave away for free. Let me know in the comments if there was a major takeaway that you're going to implement after listening to this interview. And until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well.